Good evening, Commissioners, staff and members of the public. I declare the Ordinary Council meeting of 25 February 2026 open at 5:30 p.m. I wish to acknowledge the Gurriata people as the traditional custodians of the land we're meeting on. I recognise their strength and resilience and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. This meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded to facilitate community participation and for minute-taking purposes, which may be released upon request to third parties. In accordance with Clause 6.16 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law 2014, members of the public are not permitted to use any visual or audio electronic device or instrument to record the proceedings of any meeting unless that person has been given permission by the presiding member to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in accordance with Clause 6.174 of the Standing Orders, mobile telephones must be switched off and not used during the meeting. I note that all commissioners are present and their attendance will be listed under item 3.1 of the minutes. There are no attendances by telephone or instantaneous communications. CEO, are there any apologies?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to declare an interest for any items in the agenda this evening?
No, Chair.
CEO, are there any applications for leave of absence?
None received, Chair.
Thank you. As Chair, I move a procedural motion to the order of business that's displayed on the screen. May I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you, Commissioner Jurjevic. Look, welcome everybody. I've just got a few comments to make. This is our second last Ordinary Council meeting, so your time tolerating us is shortly at an end. The first thing I'd just like to discuss, obviously, is the upcoming election on the 28th of March. We've had 8 nominations for Mayor and 14 for councillor positions, and that's great. Thank you very much to all the candidates for putting your hand up to represent your community, and we wish you all the very best of luck. Your candidates' profiles can be viewed at the Civic Centre, the South and Port Hedland Civic Centre, South and Port Hedland Libraries, and on the town's website. And voting packs should start landing in mailboxes very soon. If you've not received your papers, you can obtain a replacement pack during business hours at the South Hedland Library or the Civic Centre, but your completed ballot papers must reach the returning officer by 6 p.m. on the 28th of March. You can either post them back, in which case it's a good idea to get your skates on, or you can hand deliver your papers during business hours at the South Hedland Library and the Civic Centre. And on the 28th of March, there will be electoral officers at the South Hedland Library and Civic Centres present from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. To receive your completed ballot papers. People will be aware as well, we've had some great events. Our event season has started with a bang with Christine Anu selling out at the Matt Dan Theatre and the cinema on Saturday night. This is a series that the Town of Port Hedland puts on, the Always Good Nights music series. It's very popular. It's great to have such an incredibly talented performer like Christine Anu perform in Hedland. It's just fantastic. And there are 3 more shows coming up, so have a look at the town's website for more details. As I mentioned, our period with the Town of Port Hedland as Commissioners is shortly coming to an end, and with a month to go, we're basically in a transition period now. During our limited time here, since September the 3rd, which was my birthday, I'll never forget it, we very much focused on steadying the ship, on stabilising the organisation, on restoring the fundamentals of good governance and preparing the town for a return to an elected council. And over the next month, we're going to be very focused on handover. And there are 2 areas of focus that I do want to talk about because it's important for the work we've already done and the work that we will do and the work that we anticipate is to come for the new council. We've been focusing very heavily, firstly, on the functions of council and then on governance and the business organisation. On council, we have tried to reinstate council practices that accord with the usual conduct in other local government authorities. So we've adopted practices around the order of business for meetings, reflecting conventional standing orders and practices across WA. We've outlined protocols with respect to public time that are aimed at encouraging respectful and orderly meetings that ensure equal access to and participation in question time, that promote the use of written questions and statements as a mechanism to improve information and exchange between the town and the community. We've been quite particular also about applying a deliberative decision-making process, and we've been heavily focused on the timing, content and delivery of papers to council, on the conduct of briefing sessions, on the role of officers' reports and recommendations, which has been at issue in the last couple of meetings. It would seem that that isn't necessarily well understood, how papers are prepared, what they're containing, and then how decisions are made. And as I say, council's role then in considering all this information and then making decisions on these matters that are placed before us. We've been engaged with the department in these efforts, and we understand that model standing orders will be released later this year, and we'd strongly encourage the new council to consider their adoption. We're hoping to shortly consider a policy updating the protocols governing the relationship between council and administration. So we've been very focused on what is the relationship between council and the community, between councillors themselves, and how do we function as a unit, how do we collaborate, how do we try and make the best possible decisions, and how do we engage with the administration who support us in the decision-making functions that councils do on your behalf. We have also, as I say, been focused on governance and administration. So we adopted the previously delayed budget and council plan, providing the administration with the resources required to plan and deliver and a framework for priorities, accountability and decision-making. We've recruited a permanent CEO, Dale Stewart, and we're assisting now with preparation for his arrival. We've met with Dale and had a good chat with him, and it's vital that we set him up for success. As we've discussed in the past, the town of Port Hedland's been without a permanent CEO and without that permanent steady leadership now for long enough, and we want him to succeed, and it's vital that we do all we can to set him up. In terms of policies, in the council plan, it was identified that many of the town's policies were out of date. We've been working with the administration to review and renew these. We've consistently communicated that that is a very important part of our time here. Our intent being to leave the new council with a full suite of modern policies that are consistent with sector practice. There are still a number of policies outstanding, and that is of concern to us as a council. We hope that a number of them will come to us in the coming weeks, and the finalisation of the rest will be a matter of priority for the incoming council. We've initiated the major strategic review now. As commissioners, we're of the view that it's vital that MSR delivers two key outcomes. Firstly, a thorough consultation process aimed at obtaining the community's views on services, facilities, projects and priorities. So while the elections are obviously a very important opportunity, the major strategic review is also really important for you to communicate your vision for the town at a more granular level. The things you want your elected members to focus on and what you want them to prioritise. It's really clear that councillors don't just receive your views once every election cycle. There should be an ongoing process of communication, and commissioners and councillors should be held to account against the major strategic review, and if they want to deviate from it, why? So in all the things we're doing, we're trying to go, here's the normal practice, here's what the community wants, here's the way decisions should be made, and if the council then wants to deviate from that, the council needs to explain to its community why. That is really, I think, a really important, thank you, a very important principle. We also think that the major strategic review needs to deliver comprehensive information, so far as it's available, on costings, project governance, and the organisation's delivery capabilities to assist council to make the best possible informed choices about prioritisation and the future direction of the town. It's reasonable to expect that a council's long-term vision aligns with the needs of the community, the wishes of the community, and the major strategic review process is an ideal opportunity to engage and to support the new council in its role. In December, we also authorised the CEO to commission an organisational health check. That was designed to independently investigate and prepare a report on the compliance and effectiveness of the operational practices of the town of Port Hedland. We asked the CEO to rapidly assess the town's administrative practices, suggest improvements or changes where possible, and to provide an operational report and roadmap. This exercise is nearing finalisation, and we're considering how it will be brought before council. We anticipate that it will identify a range of matters that will require the sustained attention of the new council and CEO. And we're also considering how the newly constituted Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee can contribute to continual organisational improvement. In all these matters, we're communicating with the local government inspector, the Minister's Office and the Department of Local Government regarding the transition process and how, with the very short time left available to us, we can effect a smooth transition and best set the new council up for success. And we really do thank the community for your support during our term. Okay, so all the meetings for the commissioners for November and December 2025 have been included in this evening's agenda and are up on the screen. Item 5, response to previous questions, there are none. Item 6, public time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for members of the public to ask questions of council. Clause 6.73 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law requires members of the public wishing to ask a question to complete a question form and place the completed form in the tray provided. If myself as a presiding member determine that questions or statements are out of order due to the use of offensive or objectionable expressions or a defamatory, they will not be considered, recorded nor responded to. Public questions are allocated a minimum of 15 minutes under the Act. Public questions and statements received in writing will be provided the opportunity to present first, followed by other members of the public. I declare public question time opened at 5:42 p.m. CEO, have we received any questions in writing?
Chair, none have been received in writing.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to ask questions? Thank you. Please come forward and state your name and suburb, and remember to fill in a public question time form if you haven't already done so.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Sharon Todd and I live out at South Hedland. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for your acknowledgement to country. I am a Gariada person and I'm also nominated for council as well. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to catch up with you. My questions are, through all of you, I'd like an update please on the funding allocation for the cemetery works and the current progress of those works. Specifically, what funding was approved for cemetery works and when was it approved? Have there been any changes to the original cemetery budget? And if so, why? What works have been completed to date and what remains outstanding? What is the expected timeline for the completion of the remaining works? And there's some additional questions that I'd also like council to consider, and I'm happy for you to take these on notice.
Okay, so that's fine. Just so I'm very clear, is that basically your questions, or do you have further questions tonight?
No, these are my questions. There is a request for additional shade and seating. There's also a request for the re-establishment of the Friends of the Cemetery, which was set up a few years ago. Okay. And again, that's from members of the public. They're wanting the changes.
Sure, sure. Okay. So what we'll do, I'll interpret your first question as a bit of a request for an update on the cemetery status of the cemetery project. And the team here have heard what you'd like included in the answer. And then we'll move on to your second and third questions. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll refer that to the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Director, can you respond, please?
Thank you for the question. So there's $1.7 million in the budget this year, and that is to begin the work on doing the paths that were part of the cemetery master plan, and I think the surveying has been done for that, and that should be going to tender in the next month or so. The town recently, well, last financial year, put another set of toilets in there because they were, I guess, they were universal access, and the feedback we received is we'd like separate men's and women's toilets. So that was done, and that also necessitated an upgrade of the drain, the leach drain there. So that has been done, and there's been a number of trees that have been planted, and there are more to come. And the other thing that may be of interest is that there will be a report coming in March to begin work on extension to the cemetery. So the Muslim part of the cemetery is filling up faster than we had anticipated, and so are plot reservations. And so there is now a need to look to extend into the next block, which the town has, for increasing availability of cemetery plots.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms Todd. And your second question?
Have there been any original changes from the original budget, and why, if so?
I'll ask the CEO to respond.
Thank you. Director?
There haven't been any changes to the original budget, so I think it was $8 million, and that was every other year we were going to be doing around about $2 million worth of works. The only departure from the original cemetery master plan was crematorium. And so when I actually looked at that, there's just not the, and I don't mean to sound crass, but it was actually really around the throughput that you needed to be able to sustain a crematorium. And most of the funerals in, there's only 20 on average burials in Port Hedland a year, and and most of those are burials because a lot of them are state-funded funerals. So the crematorium became not able to be sustained.
Thank you. And your third question, Ms Todd?
It was just the works that are remaining outstanding, which I think you've answered, but I have a bit of a hearing problem. Was it paths and roads or paths?
Through the chair, sorry.
Through the
No,
chair.
you're okay. It's to the CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Director, can you respond?
It's paths and roads at the moment. There is in the cemetery master plan long term is for an outdoor, not chapel, but an outdoor shaded area to for comfort. So you could have a little service or memorial gathering, and then that would shade people and provide seating. And the paths and roads will be upgraded and installed to enable much easier access to grave sites, and especially for those that may be difficult for them if they're in a wheelchair or are not able to move freely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms Todd. Thank you for also nominating to run for council. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Are there any further questions? Thank you. Please come forward, state your name and suburb, and don't forget to fill out a public question form.
Now, I
please.
just got the paperwork now, thank you.
Thank you.
How are you lovely people?
We're well, thank you.
That's good to hear, that's good to hear. My name's Frank Kane. I was here before Christmas. About the fraud going on in Port Hedland. Now, when we last spoke, I finally got a bit of paperwork together because it all got scattered all over the place. Now I put it all back together, which is taking me a bit of time. So on the 22nd, 23rd of December 2025, I got some paperwork started. So it goes from 2005 up to 2012. I left this at the Shire office, Port Hedland, and it was meant to be just photocopied. And so 2026, I've been here 5 times. I finally got the paperwork back on the 6th of the 2nd, 2026. Now, I have not been I have been trying to go through Freedom of Information about getting some paperwork done. I tried to get it through the courthouse. That didn't eventuate because it's gone back to the prosecutor, who happens to be part of the Shire Council. So you've got your paperwork here. But anyway, I've got some details here on Freedom of Information. It took 3 times. It took a week from the 6th of the 2nd here to the 12th, because it went from here to Wedgefield, just around the corner from me. And then all the people in at that place in Wedgefield, it took another week. And then they turned around and told me that they can't do nothing because it was the wrong form filled out of Freedom of Information. It's a Freedom of Information, what do they call it, justice, right? Now, Sandy turned around and said to me that she emailed it off and emailed back the $30 and all that sort of stuff. I did have an Australian money order.
Okay, so Mr. Kane.
Okay, I knocked that back, so I give them cash out of my bank statement.
Sure.
Kind of thing. So, cut a long story short.
Thank you.
Right, cut a long story short. Right, I went back on the 12th of the 2nd.
Yeah.
And they turned around and said that it was the wrong paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And I asked Sandy, well, have you got your own Freedom of Information forms? She said no. So I left there, after I signed in, I'm all signed in.
Mr. Kane, do you remember last time there was an opportunity for long statements, and then questions we're trying to keep relatively succinct.
Yeah, I'm nearly finished.
So are you reaching your...
Yeah, I'm nearly finished.
Okay,
I've only got a little bit
great.
more to go because I'm going to give you this stuff.
Great, excellent.
Okay? There's
Excellent.
nothing on this,
Thank
right?
you.
Because I've got a copy each for you.
Great.
Right?
Thank
but
you.
The thing is, when it comes to the Freedom of Information, right? Now it's after I turn around and done it again. Now it's going to take 48 days, right, to get the same information that I've already given you. That took me a month and a half to get back, right?
Okay.
And this is in a folder
Yep.
that was photocopied, that you've got copies of, right? And this here has said, okay, this is to look at, but all my paperwork is coming soon. It's not ready yet.
Okay. So
Okay.
Mr. Kane, and your questions are...
My question
your
is-
first question is, yep.
This paperwork
Yes.
should have been here, all ready to go.
Right. So I take it that your question is, why wasn't your paperwork ready for you in the time
Well,
frame that you
that's
requested
one,
it? Okay, that's
right?
your first question?
That's one.
okay.
Because you guys are leaving soon, and now they're taking 48 days. These are the biggest slow-me-downs. A week to take the paperwork from here to Wedgefield.
Okay.
It goes on and on. But anyway, that's your copy.
Great.
Right.
So Mr. Kane,
Now-
what I'm going to do, because we go, everybody gets 3 questions, and like I say, we're trying to make it fair and equitable so everyone has access to the process.
Just about finished.
Okay, all right, so we've got, okay, all right.
So what I'm going to do is, because of all this, Your Honours, right?
We're not honours.
Your commissioners, mate. You people, I spoke to Steve Dawson about it, and Steve Dawson asked you people to stay here and do the right thing, and I believe in him. And I only spoke to him the other week while he was in town here. So what I'm going to do is, this here, goes with me. This here is a copy each.
Thank you. We'll consider those papers tabled. Thank you. If you just like to leave them on the desk there, that's fine.
I'll leave them on the desk. There's about 120 pages
Sure.
of some of the best corruption and the best fraud you've ever seen. And I'd also like...
I appreciate everyone has strong opinions in the community of Port Hedland, but the way that the standing orders operate, we're trying to avoid the making of statements about individuals, and so I will rule the comments with respect to the former mayors out of order. Okay, so Mr. Kane, I take your question to be what has happened to your papers and what's the status of your matter? Is that a fair interpretation?
Well, their reputation is now they're going to wait 48 days for you
Sure, okay, all right.
They've already had it a few months. They only had to photocopy it, you know? It's
Okay.
pretty simple. And the same people
all
that were
right,
corrupt
all right, Mr.
are the
Kane.
same people that wrecked me in the first place that were working for all the rest of the stuff that are gone.
All right, okay, thanks,
Right,
Mr.
it's the same
thanks-
corrupt people.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Thanks for your question. I'm going to turn to the CEO and we'll see if you have further questions beyond that. Thank you.
All right, and these here,
All right, yeah, look, we've got there's awesome team, so just let me turn to the CEO and then we'll go from there, okay? Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Kane, the CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I think we'll take that on notice considering the number of questions were asked and being an opportunity to actually avail ourselves of the information provided to Commissioners.
Thank you. Mr. Kane, you do have the right to ask several questions, but is that sufficient for you for the CEO to take the matters on notice? We'll have a look through the paperwork for you, and is that okay?
I'd love for you to really go through the paperwork. because
Sure.
What you're going to find is amazing, and how bad, right? You cannot deny what is there.
All right.
100%.
Okay. Thank you very
And
much.
I'd like to come back to it. I don't know when your next meeting is.
The 26th of March is our next ordinary council meeting, and so we 24th, 25th. So the CEO's taken your matter on notice. So Mr. Kane, the CEO's taken your matter on notice. What normally happens is the council will provide, or the town will provide you with a written response, and so we'll have a look at your matter, and then we do have another meeting coming up at the end of March, and we can take things further as needed. So.
I hear what you're saying, John. Well, listen,
The-
the thing is, it's not that. The CEO has given it to Carol Price. Carol Price has given it to the same people that have been doing it for.
All right.
That's got to stop going to them, because they'll do things.
Okay. All right. Well,
For you to see your eyes only.
thank you. Thanks very much, Mr. Kane. We appreciate it. Okay. All right. Now, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Kane. Are there any further questions? There being no further questions, I declare public question time closed at 5:57 p.m. Okay. Public statement time. I declare public statement time open at 5:58 p.m. CEO, have we received any public statements?
Yeah, none have been received.
Thank you. Do any members of the public wish to make a statement? Please come forward, state your name and suburb.
My name is Relma Bulay-Turner and I'm from South Hedland, live in South Hedland. My statement is basically thank you to the town of Port Hedland for your consideration of agenda item 12.3.2 regarding the Pilbara Kimberley University Centre's request for annual scholarship and bursary support. This commitment from the town constitutes basically a strategic investment in the town of Port Hedland's long-term social and economic development. By reducing financial barriers to higher education, this commitment will provide practical, targeted support to local students and community members seeking to advance their qualifications. The bursary component is particularly significant as it enables students to complete the practical and placement requirements of their courses, requirements that are essential for attaining professional competency and are often the most financially onerous. This need is especially pronounced across the health, education, and community sectors, where extensive practical learning is mandatory and critical to building a capable and stable workforce. By supporting this initiative, the town strengthens its capacity to cultivate local talent, improve workforce retention, and enhance community resilience. This aligns with broader regional priorities to ensure Hedland is equipped with a skilled, future-ready workforce that can meet evolving service demands. So on behalf of the Pilbara Kimberley University Centre and the students that we represent, I just want to extend my appreciation for your consideration for the town of Port Hedland's consideration and commitment to advancing educational opportunity and supporting the long-term capability and well-being of our community in Hedland. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and thank you for articulating such a compelling set of reasons for why this initiative should be supported. And, you know, tertiary education is such an important enabler and should be accessible to everyone, no matter where they live.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for bringing that to us tonight. It's a really great example of how the deputation process and the public statement process can be used. You know, council, you can't be everywhere all at once. And a newly elected council need to hear from people why it is that they should decide one way or another. So thank you very much for presenting to us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further public statements? Okay, there being no further public statements, I declare public statement time closed at 6:01 p.m. Item 6.3, petitions. CEO, have you received any petitions, deputations, presentations or submissions?
Yeah, none have been received.
Thank you. Item 7, are there any questions from commissioners without notice?
No, thanks.
Okay, declarations of commissioners to have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers before the meeting. I invite all commissioners to declare by a show of hands that they've given due consideration to all matters contained in the agenda. Thank you. Item 10, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. We have two officers' recommendations before us displayed on the screen. The first officer's recommendation requires a simple majority vote. The council have confirmed the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on 28th of January 2026 are a true and correct record. The second officer's recommendation requires a simple majority vote that council confirm the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 11th of February 2026 are a true and correct record. Could I have a mover, please?
I so move.
And a seconder?
I second.
Does anyone wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
As a motion is not opposed, I declare the motion carried by simple majority. Item 11, reports of committees. There are none. Item 12, reports of officers. 12.1, corporate services. 12.11, statement of financial activity, January 2026. We have an officer's recommendation as displayed on the screen that requires a simple majority vote. Can I have a mover?
Can I ask some questions about this item
Before it's
we move it?
moved?
Yes,
Okay, yep, absolutely. Commissioner Aldridge.
Thanks, Chair. I just had a couple of questions with respect to this report. I'm looking at the statement of financial activity in the attachments for the period ended 31 January 2026, and there is an uplift of about $50 million from 30 June 2025 to 31 January 2026 in other financial assets. Is that simply or primarily rate revenue that has been placed into term deposits or a cash interest earning account?
The CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Director Corporate, can you answer that question, please?
Thank you. Through the Chair, I might have to actually take that on notice just to get you the actual details of it and just to make sure I'm looking at the right part of the attachment that you're referring to as well.
Okay.
Do you have further questions?
I do, just with respect to the financial, what is it called? The investment summary report, which is attachment 12.1.1.4. So the town has approximately $235 million invested currently with an average yield rate of 4.27%. I note from the town's annual report that we have almost $20 million in debt to WA Treasury Corp, with interest rates ranging up to 4.9%. I'm just wondering what the town's strategy has been when it has such significant cash reserves, but we are still borrowing money, which is, you know, not not exclusively, but often it is the case that we're borrowing money for more than what our money is making us invested.
The CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Director?
Thank you, through the Chair. It's a fair point. Those loans do predate me, so I can't quite unaware as to the decision, rationale towards the decision making at that time. Yeah, there is more being incurred in interest expense than what we would have foregone if we had used our own funds. But in the time since, we've actually revised the borrowings policy. And what I have done within it is actually reduced the term that we would normally take out loans down from 20 years. I think 10 is more of a reasonable time frame these days. But also the long-term financial plan, which we are preparing at the moment, the strategy that would be in there would be to only borrow when the reserves are depleted to a point that would leave us unfinancial.
Further questions?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Commissioner Yurevich, do you have further questions?
No questions. Happy to second.
Okay, all right. Then, there being no one against this motion, I declare the motion carried by a simple majority. Okay, item 12.1.2, Council Plan Progress Report. We have an officer's recommendation as displayed on the screen that requires a simple majority vote. Can I have a mover?
So moved.
And a seconder?
I'll second the motion.
Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Okay, there being no opposition to the motion, I declare it carried by simple majority. Item 12.1.3, 2025-26 Q2 Budget Review. We have an officer's recommendation as displayed on the screen that requires an absolute majority vote. Can I have a mover?
Can I ask some questions on
Yes,
this item?
Commissioner Aldridge.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to pick up, I wasn't planning on raising this at the meeting, but I wanted to pick up the question that was asked by Ms Todd during public question time with respect to Cemetery Beach. I think, and I don't know if I wrote it down correctly, but I think Director Furness said that there was some investment in a toilet block last financial year and there hadn't been a change in the budget, because looking at this item, it would tend to indicate that the Cemetery Beach toilet project is this financial year and there actually is a $1.15 million change in the budget, or am I misreading something?
The CEO.
Thank you. Director, Infrastructure.
The toilets are at the Cemetery Beach Playground. The toilets that I was referring to were at the South Headlands Cemetery.
Right.
A trap for new players.
Indeed.
Any further questions, Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes, please. I just wanted to, I note, and again, this could be me linking to completely different things, but I note in the budget review table in the officer's report, there is a line item which I should have highlighted before now, with respect to the CCTV project. Yes, here it is. Increase in unbudgeted CCTV project in an amount of $517,560. When I look at the Capital Works report, which was attached to the earlier agenda item, I think I found two CCTV projects, one in the order of about $625,000 and a separate one which was to do with CCTV licensing in the order of about $300,000. So I'm just trying to understand if those two items, or how those items are related, and perhaps some explanation for this increase in project cost.
CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Through Director Infrastructure.
So there wasn't an increase in costs. There was some money which was not transferred into the new financial year, and it was missed. And so that's why we've come back. So that money wasn't spent last financial year. So that's what, but we had started the project
Okay.
to do the ANPR
So
cameras
this was technically a carryover.
The CEO?
Thank you. Director?
No, it was, it should have been, but it wasn't, and the project had commenced. So the way that we do that is then come back to second quarter review.
Understood.
Any further questions?
No, thank you.
Further questions, Commissioner Jurovich?
No, thank you. This time.
I'm happy to move the recommendation.
Thank you. So mover is Commissioner Aldridge. Can I have a seconder?
So seconded.
Thank you, Commissioner Jurovich. As the motion is not opposed, I declare the motion carried by absolute majority. Item 12.2, Community Services. There are no reports from Community Services. Item 12.3, Regulatory Services. Local Planning Policy, Kingsford Smith Business Park Design Guidelines Initiation for Advertising. We have an officer's recommendation as displayed on the screen that requires a simple majority vote. Can I have a mover?
So moved.
Thank you. And a seconder? Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Okay, as the motion is not opposed, I declare the motion carried by simple majority. Item 12.3.2, Pilbara Kimberley University Centre request for annual scholarship bursary. We have an officer's recommendation as displayed on screen that requires a simple majority vote. Can I have a mover?
Can I ask a question about this item
Yep,
before we
Commissioner
move
Aldridge.
into debate? So this is asking approval for $20,000 per annum commencing next financial year and for 4 financial years. So it's a 5-year arrangement. I'm just wondering a couple of questions. This will obviously be subject to the 26-27 budget process, so we're not adjusting this year's budget. My question is, who will make the decision as to who receives the scholarship or scholarships? And on that point, is it one student that's going to benefit from $20,000, or is it 2 that's going to benefit from $10,000 each? And will it be a multi-year scholarship per student?
The CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure exactly how the funds are delineated and on the determination. Director Regulatory, are you across that?
Thank you, through the Chair. At this point, in terms of eligibility and nominations, I refer you to item 2B of the recommendation that the town has given a generic intent regarding what they would like to see, but ultimately it will be PKUC that determine the funding split and the eligibility criteria. There is also a proposal in there for that to be bedded down in a simple agreement before the grant is made. In terms of the budget item, the current learning and development budget from the town can easily accommodate this request, and therefore there's no increase requested.
Okay.
Further questions?
Yep. So, I mean, obviously this could be done several different ways, a grant agreement or a MOU with the Pilbara Kimberley University Centre. Will the town retain any role in the decision-making process? Like, will there be a committee where perhaps town officers or even an elected member may play a role in terms of assessing applications and making recommendations for approval?
CEO.
Thank you, Chair. Director?
Thank you, through the Chair. If that is so the wish of the Commission and the Council tonight, I would suggest we move that as an amendment to the motion. However, that was the intent to be negotiated with PKUC to be part of the selection criteria as part of that MOU.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Chair. I'm satisfied with those responses, and I'm happy to move the officer's recommendation.
Unamended?
Unamended.
And seconded.
Thank you. All right. Well, we've got PKUC in the room, and I'm sure they've heard the discussion, and we'll take it on board as we move forward. I would just like to state my overwhelming support for this. I think it's a fantastic initiative, and was once the recipient of a full scholarship myself when I headed off to university, and I know how life-changing it can be. And as the first person to get past 14 years of age at school in my family ever, and you know, tertiary education can truly be liberating, and I take my hat off to you for your advocacy for it, and not just here in Port Hedland, but right the way across the Pilbara and the Kimberley. And well, I don't know if we'll be around to see the results, but I'm sure it'll have lasting impact. So congratulations to the organisation, and our best wishes to all the students that will benefit from this in the next 5 years and hopefully beyond. Thank you very much. As the motion is not opposed, I declare the motion carried by simple majority. Item 12.4, Infrastructure Services. There are no reports from Infrastructure Services. 12.5, Executive Services. There are no reports from Executive Services. There is no new business. There are no motions of which previous notice has been given. There are no matters for which the meeting may be closed. I therefore move to closure. The date of the next meeting, Ordinary Council meeting, will be held on the 25th of March, on Wednesday 25th of March, commencing at 5:30 p.m. There being no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 6:17 p.m. and thank Commissioners, members of the public, the CEO and staff for their attendance. Thank you.